In this example, we're going to be factoring the expression 6x squared plus 7x minus 20. When you go through factoring, you first want to make sure that there isn't a common monomial that can be pulled out. Nothing goes into 6, 7, and 20, nor is there a variable in all three terms. And the leading coefficient is positive, so there is no common monomial that will be helpful to factor out. Second, you want to check to see if it's a pattern. This is not the a squared minus b squared pattern, nor is it the a squared plus minus 2ab plus b squared pattern. In order for it to be either of those patterns, that first term would have to, at the very least, be a perfect square, and 6 is not. So we're going to start the guess and check process, which I have the steps listed here. So we'll multiply first and last 6x squared times negative 20 to get negative 120x squared. Second step is to find factors of this product that adds up to be the middle term. If you have a hard time doing this, just make a list of factors. You don't have to make this list, but it can be helpful if you struggle. 1 and 120, 2 and 60, 3 and 40, 4 and 30, 5 and 12 times 2, 24, 6 and 20, obviously. 7, no, doesn't go into 120. 8, 8 and 15. 9 doesn't go into 120. 10 does, 10 and 12. And then 11 doesn't, and then 12 repeats. Okay, so we have our list. Because it multiplies to be negative 120, I know one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So I'm just going to make one of my columns negative. Which combination adds up to be our middle term of 7? It looks like negative 8 and positive 15. I don't even have to switch signs this time. So that's the combination we want. Now, because we do have a leading coefficient, we have a value for a. We have to do steps 3 and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and add an x onto both of these, because technically they have to add to be 7x and multiply to be 120x squared. So they would technically both need an x to continue this process. So let's go ahead with step 3. Step 3 is to rewrite our expression, breaking up the middle term into the two factors we just found. So our first term, 6x squared, is going to stay the same. But then we'll have our two factors that we just found, the negative 8x and the positive 15x. And then our last term. That's the third step. The fourth step here is to factor out the common monomials between ax squared and factored 1. So that is the first grouping. And then from factor 2 and the third term, which is referred to as c in a quadratic expression. So starting with the first grouping, the number that goes into both terms is 2. There's also an x in both terms, so we'll pull out 2x. If I divide both terms by 2x, that's going to give me 3x minus 4. In the second grouping, I'm going to do the same thing. The number that goes into both appears to be 5. First term's positive, so we don't have to worry about pulling out a negative. So we want to pull out positive 5. We'll divide each term by 5 now. So that's going to give me 3x minus 4. The final step for factoring by grouping is to factor out the common binomial. If you do factoring by grouping correctly, each of the groupings should share a common binomial which will factor it out similar to how we did the 2x. So we're going to pull that out of both groupings. So the 3x minus 4 is going to come out of both groupings. And then what's left in the first term would be the 2x. And in the second term, from the second grouping, will be 5. So overall, our factors are 3x minus 4 times 2x plus 5.